If you're a man who gives his all to a woman, your time, your loyalty, your energy, and still ends up confused, frustrated, or discarded like you never mattered, this video is not just for you. It's about you. There's a reason you've been losing sleep. A reason don't add up. And no one ever told you this because they don't want you to know. This isn't about bitterness. It's about truth. Women don't care about what you do for them. They care about how you make them feel. And most men get that part completely wrong. They give. They sacrifice. They try harder. But effort doesn't turn her on. Presence does. Loyalty doesn't make her stay. Polarity does. Consistency doesn't keep her chasing. Mystery does. And that's what makes this video dangerous. Because once you understand what truly attracts her and what silently pushes her away, you'll stop being manipulated. You'll stop being the fallback guy. You'll stop being the one asking, what did I do wrong? We're going deep into the female psychology no one dares to talk about in public, what she really wants, what she's not telling you, and most importantly, how to flip the dynamic on your terms. Before we start, subscribe if you're tired of living on the emotional roller coaster and ready to live by your own code. And if you want deeper, uncensored insights, join as a member and unlock what women really think when no one's watching. Now, let's get into the 10 things she truly wants from you. Because once you know them, you'll never play her game again. Number 1, she never chooses the man who chooses her. Let's be honest here. No woman wakes up thinking, I want a man who desperately wants me. That sounds romantic on paper, but in reality, that kind of man is invisible to her. She might thank him. She might even keep him around, but choose him never. Here's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. If you put her on a pedestal, she looks down on you. You think choosing her makes her feel secure, valued, seen. But what it actually does is strip you of your edge. It tells her you've already decided she's the prize, and now she has nothing to chase. No fire, no thrill, no mystery. And without mystery, there's no attraction. When you choose her first, she starts wondering, why was it so easy? What's wrong with this guy that he's already sure about me? Does he not have better options? That's where the respect begins to fade, because in her psychology, desire flows where challenge exists. It's not that she wants you to treat her poorly. That's not it. She just doesn't want you to fold before she's earned it. She wants to sense that your attention is rare, that your time is earned, that you have standards, and that she might not even meet them. When you chase a woman too early, you're giving away the most powerful thing you have, your uncertainty. Uncertainty in the hands of a man who is grounded, focused, and mission-driven is magnetic. It tells her, I see you, but I'm watching how you move. I like what I see, but I don't need it. I'm not here to be chosen. I'm here to evaluate. You flip the script. Instead of her wondering if you'll choose her now, she's wondering if she's good enough to win your full attention. That's when the attraction starts to build. That's when she leans in. That's when she starts thinking about you when you're not around. Because here's what no one tells you. Women fall for the man who makes them feel uncertain but safe. It's not about games. It's about calibration. A man who chooses too soon communicates neediness. A man who chooses too late communicates disinterest. But a man who holds his ground waits, watches, and lets her reveal herself first. That man earns both her desire and her respect. So what do you do instead? You let her show interest before you fully invest. You match her energy, not exceed it. You don't declare love when you barely know her. You don't plan your life around someone who hasn't earned a seat in it. Be courteous, be clear, be strong. But don't choose too early. Don't offer your loyalty to someone who hasn't proven they're loyal to your peace. Remember this, the man who chooses himself first is the one she can't stop thinking about. Because when you choose yourself, your path, your mission, your values, you show her that you're not desperate for approval. You're not chasing affection. You're building a life worth sharing. And if she wants to be part of that, great. If not, you're still good. Let her prove that she deserves to be chosen. And when she does, then you decide. Comment prompt. Drop this in the comments. If it hit you, I choose myself first. Number 2, her respect starts where your neediness ends. Let's get something straight. No matter how good your intentions are, no matter how deeply you care, the moment she senses that you need her more than you choose her, you've already lost something far more valuable than attraction, her respect. Respect isn't given because you showed up. It's not granted because you did all the right things. It begins the moment she feels she can lean on your presence without carrying your insecurities. And here's the real kicker. Neediness isn't about how much you talk or text. It's the energy underneath it. That energy that says, I need you to like me so I can like myself. It's when you're not centered in who you are, so you make her the compass for your self-worth. That's a dangerous game because the more you orbit around her moods, the less she sees you as the man who can ground her. You might think you're being attentive, but if your attention comes from anxiety, it doesn't feel like love. It feels like pressure, and pressure doesn't create intimacy. It makes people pull away. She wants to feel your stability, your centeredness, your ability to stand firm in your truth without collapsing every time she withdraws a little warmth. When you let go of chasing validation, something shifts. You start showing up from fullness, not emptiness. You start choosing her, not clinging to her. And she feels the difference. It doesn't need to be said. It radiates in your tone, your eyes, your silence. That's when her energy changes. That's when she starts leaning in. The funny thing is, the less you need her to validate you, the more she wants to, because you've become a man whose attention feels earned, not given away cheaply. Now, if any of this hits close to home, if you've ever bent over backwards, lost sleep trying to decode her texts, or felt that gut, sinking feeling when you're doing everything and still getting less, you're not alone. But here's your turning point. You don't become magnetic by chasing her emotions. You become magnetic by mastering your own. And when you do, she notices. Even if she never says a word, she feels it. And that feeling, that quiet shift in her gaze, that new tone in her voice when she speaks to you, that's called respect. And it's earned by how you hold your center when everything around you tries to pull you out of it. Now, I want to hear from the real ones. If you've ever had to reclaim your power, if you know what it's like to stop overgiving and start standing tall, drop this in the comments. I lead. I don't chase. You'd be surprised who needs to read that today. And if you're still watching, that tells me something. You're not here for surface level advice. You're here because you're done playing small. So stay right where you are. We're not done yet. Number 3. If you don't lead, she'll replace you. There's a truth most men don't want to hear. If you don't lead the energy of the relationship, she will. And the moment she does, she starts looking around for someone else to take that role. It doesn't matter how loving you are, how supportive, how loyal. If she senses that she's steering the emotional direction of the relationship, something inside her starts to dry up. Attraction fades, respect weakens, desire gets confused with responsibility, and you get quietly filed away into the nice but replaceable category. Now, let's be clear. Leadership in a relationship isn't about control. It's not about barking orders or calling all the shots. It's about vision, direction, initiative. It's about being a man who knows where he's going and is strong enough to bring her with him. Not drag her, not plead with her, but inspire her to want to come along. You see, women don't want to carry the emotional weight of the dynamic. They might try to for a while, especially if they care. They'll set the dates, fix the problems, manage the tone of every conversation, but deep down that exhausts them. They start resenting it. And that resentment quietly grows into disinterest, because here's the thing: she wants to feel your leadership, not be told about it. It shows up in small ways, like when you take initiative without asking for credit, when you're decisive without being rigid, when you hold space in conflict without emotionally flinching, when your energy says, I've got this. Even if you never say a word, she can feel that. And when she does, she relaxes. She becomes softer, more playful, more trusting. Not because she's submissive, but because she finally feels safe. Most guys get this backward. They think being accommodating is being a good partner, but there's a fine line between being flexible and being forgettable. If you're always waiting for her to decide what she wants, if you're constantly checking in on how she feels before expressing your own, if you've made your life revolve around her emotional weather, you're not leading, you're following. And that energy isn't just unsexy, it's unsustainable. Women are intuitive. They know when they've become the pilot in a relationship. And once they realize they're flying the plane solo, they start scanning for a co-pilot who knows how to fly. Leadership means you're not afraid to go first. It means you're willing to speak your truth, make bold decisions, and take responsibility for the direction things are heading, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. And if you're thinking, well, I don't want to be too assertive and scare her off, let me tell you something. If your leadership scares her, she was never meant to follow you in the first place. The right woman won't be threatened by your strength. She'll be drawn to it because it speaks to something ancient in her. It tells her this man won't fold when life gets hard, and that is rare. That is attractive. So ask yourself, are you leading your relationship or are you being led by it? Be honest. Because you can't course correct if you're not clear on where you are. And if you've been too passive, too accommodating, too soft, trying to keep things smooth, don't beat yourself up. Just start showing up differently. From this moment on, speak less with words and more with direction. Let your actions say, I've got this. Let your presence become the quiet authority in the room and watch what happens. Now, I'm curious if you know it's time to stop waiting for approval and start leading your own story. Tell me in the comments, I take the lead. There's power in declaring who you've decided to become. Let's see how many of us are ready to rise. Her seduction is strategy, not surrender. Let's get something straight right now. When a woman seduces you, it's not always about desire. It's not always about passion. In fact, many times it's not even about you. Her seduction, especially when it feels too perfect, too timely, too polished, can be a calculated move, a strategy, not a surrender. This is where most men get it wrong. You think, she finally opened up. She finally wants me. She's showing affection, attention, and intimacy. And naturally, you lean in. You start giving more. You drop your guard. But in that exact moment when you're most vulnerable is often when you're being played the hardest. You need to understand not all seduction comes from a place of emotional daughter connection. Sometimes it comes from control, influence, even revenge. Maybe she wants something from you. Maybe she wants to neutralize your anger, avoid accountability, or pull you back into a situation that serves her, not you. Real seduction, the kind that comes from surrender, is rare. It's slow, it's emotionally grounded. But strategic seduction, that's about timing. It appears when you've pulled away, when you've stood your ground, when she feels she's losing you. That's when the lingerie comes out. That's when the sweet texts arrive. Not because she suddenly discovered her love for you, but because she's trying to regain power. Here's the test. Look at what happens after the seduction. Does the warmth last? Or does it vanish once you give in again? If her affection fades the moment you stop resisting, that wasn't desire, it was bait. See, emotional manipulation doesn't always look like arguments or guilt trips. Sometimes it looks like intimacy. Sometimes it looks like surrender. But underneath, it's a reset button, a way for her to reestablish control without saying a word. So, what can you do about this? You observe. You delay your response. You don't rush in. You let her actions play out over time. If she truly wants you, if it's real, her energy will stay consistent. Her affection won't be conditional. But if she disappears the moment she gets your attention back, you'll know exactly what game was being played. You also have to detach from the instinct to always respond with validation. Strategic seduction feeds on that. It depends on your need for acceptance. So you stay grounded. You stay focused on your purpose. You let her come to you, and more importantly, you let her prove it's genuine. This doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming clear. Clear on your value, clear on your standards, clear on what kind of woman deserves access to your emotional and physical space. Because here's the truth, real surrender from a woman isn't loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't need makeup candles or the perfect playlist. It's soft, subtle, and it's rooted in safety and respect. If she feels safe with your strength, she'll open naturally. If she feels the need to seduce you, to control you, it means she's not feeling secure. She's feeling threatened by your independence. Don't get caught in the trap. Don't mistake performance for passion. When seduction is strategy, it's about her needs, not the relationships. And the moment you trade your power for the illusion of intimacy, you lose more than control. You lose her respect. So now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and claim it 3 words. No more games. Say it loud. Say it proud. Let the world know you're no longer falling for surface-level seduction. And if you're still watching and this message hits home, this is your moment to take it deeper. Hit that subscribe button. Join the members circle, because here we don't play games. We break patterns, and we rebuild from strength, ready to keep going good, because this is where it starts getting even more real. Number 5, the less you react, the more she obsesses. Let's talk about silence and how powerful it really is. In today's dating world where everything is instant replies, instant gratification, instant drama, your ability to not react is your biggest advantage, especially with women who are used to pulling emotional strings. When she sends that text designed to provoke or drops a passive-aggressive comment meant to bait you, most guys bite. Most guys explain, justify, defend, they react. But the moment you don't, the moment you choose calm over chaos, that's when the shift happens. That's when she starts paying attention. Why? Because you're not doing what 99% of men do. You're not giving her that dopamine hit of control. Women are emotionally intuitive. They know how to read tone, timing, energy. So when you stop reacting, when you stop chasing, when you stop scrambling to fix every little shift in her mood, what you're doing is disrupting the script. And when you disrupt the script, you become unpredictable. That unpredictability creates curiosity. Curiosity turns into obsession. Let me be clear. This isn't about playing games. It's not about being manipulative. It's about regulating yourself. It's about not letting her mood dictate your mindset. Because the truth is, the man who can stay grounded when emotions are high is the man who commands the most respect. Think about it. When you're always reacting, always trying to fix, to explain, to prove you're not standing in your masculine frame, you're orbiting hers. And once she senses that, once she feels she has the power to push your buttons, that's when the dynamic shifts, not in your favor. But when you're centered, when you take a breath before you speak, when you choose stillness instead of spiraling, now you are the one setting the tone. And that tone says, I'm not here to chase validation, I'm here to lead. You want her to feel you not through your reactions, but through your presence, your steadiness. That's what truly penetrates a woman's emotional wall. Because whether she admits it or not, she craves the man who can't be easily rattled. The man who listens, observes, and speaks only when it matters. Now, here's what happens when you live like this. She starts wondering. She rereads the messages. She replays the conversation in her mind. She starts filling in the blanks with imagination. And that imagination, it's more powerful than any explanation you could have given. The less predictable you are, the more magnetic you become. You're no longer feeding the cycle. You're letting her sit with her own emotions. And in that space, she begins to realize something. You're not emotionally available in the way that lets her control you, but you are emotionally aware in the way that makes her respect you. And respect always comes before desire, always. This doesn't mean you go cold. It means you go calm. Calm is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. You're still passionate, still caring, still tuned in, but you're selective. And that selectiveness makes you rare. Remember this, the man who moves the least emotionally often moves the most powerfully. And once she senses that you won't jump at every mood swing or respond to every bait, she starts chasing something far deeper than attention. She starts chasing understanding. Understanding you, your mind, your standards, your silence. So now, I want you to make this real. Type it in the comments right now. Still, focused, unshaken. Lock it in. Let it echo. Let her energy adapt to yours, not the other way around. You're not here to react. You're here to lead. Stay grounded, stay unmoved, stay powerful. Because when the dust settles, she won't remember what you said in the heat of the moment. She'll remember how unbothered you were when everything around you begged for a reaction. And that, my friend, that's when you truly become unforgettable. Number 6, she hides behind space when she's testing power. Let's not sugarcoat it when a woman says, I just need some space. What she really means isn't always about peace, clarity, or self-reflection. Sometimes, yes, but often it's a test, a power move, a quiet strategy to see where you stand when she pulls back. And most men, they fail it instantly. Here's what you need to understand. Space isn't the problem. The timing and tone behind it is what matters. Did she suddenly need space right after you stood your ground? Right after you stopped overgiving? Or maybe right after she sensed you weren't as available emotionally as before? If so, that's